Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Alinga Sise of Urban Harvest Organic Farm. For all of you who have subscribed to my YouTube channel, I am so grateful, and for those who are still new, please kindly consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. Today I want to give you updates about our birds. You guys remember we did the beaking on Friday and today is Monday, but I want to assure you that there is great improvement in these birds compared to last time, because we did the baking on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, today Monday. So today is 3 days after the baking, but there is much improvements. Only that I want to assure you that the birds greatly reduced in feeding. Not like the feeds we put last evening, you can see is still there. So that is why the baking should be done early enough. At least that will help the birds to recover so that they can start laying at the right time. Because if you do the debaking, let's say at 15 weeks or 14 weeks, sometimes your birds will end up laying beyond 18 weeks or even 19 weeks, because the recovery is not easy. But one thing that I am seeing is that the birds are greatly improving a lot, by the way. Now personally I haven't yet used the debaking machine, the automated debaking machine, but so many of you are telling me that with automated debaking machines birds don't go through this. But honestly, I don't know, because I've not seen it or I've not experienced it. But one thing I want to tell you is that the automated debaking machines are quite expensive compared to the ordinary debaking scissors. So someone who is a beginner and have maybe has less capital, I wouldn't advise you to rush to buy the automated debaking machines. And how about those ones who are in the rural areas where there is no electricity? Probably they are using solar. Anyway, I don't know whether there are also the ones that use solar. But if someone is a beginner and they have little capital and they want to, their focus is to first at least make sure they feed the birds, I wouldn't advise you to rush to buy the automated debaking machines. Because with this debaking scissor, like that one in particular, the one I used, because I understand some people use hot blades or the ordinary scissors, but I would advise kindly try to get the debaking scissors. That is if you cannot afford the automated debaking machines. I have used this automated debaking scissors for all the flocks that I have had, and birds do recover. Okay, birds honestly do recover, but only that it will take some time. Like sometimes it can take like a week. Now I don't know, by Thursday I'm very sure the birds at least will be feeding, because you can see quite a number of birds are now feeding and drinking very well. Then also I wanted you to know that in the drinking water last evening I ran sort of the aloe vera and garlic, so I decided just to mix them, the pumpkin leaves with ginger. So that is why you're seeing the water is super green. But I will still buy more of the aloe vera and mix it. So that's why you see the water is super green. I've put there pumpkin leaves with ginger. So as you can see, right now we are going to feed the birds because it is just 7 a.m. in the morning. We are going to feed the birds, and you can really the birds' appetite is there. They are really running towards the feeds. The birds are drinking, but only that the feed intake has really reduced. So what I can say is that if you can afford to get the automated debaking machine, well and good, kindly get it and use it, especially those who have a bigger number of birds. But if you cannot afford it, you can use this debaking scissors, and the birds are going to recover. That is why I'm giving you updates almost every day what is happening with these birds. but haven't yet received any mortality since Friday up to today. Today is now Monday, but I've not received any mortality. But honestly, what I can tell you is the birds are improving so greatly, because with the drinking water, every day we are adding drinking water, but the feeding is the one that is the feed intake has really reduced. So let us first feed the birds, and today evening we shall again remove the feathers. Guys, you can see the floor is filled up with feathers. We're again going to remove the feathers, and we're just few days to 13 weeks. So let us feed the birds. So I'm showing you all this because I know someone out there is still new, and he or she has not yet experienced this. So that is why I want you to at least learn everything, so that when you start your project, you debake the birds, they are not feeding, you're not worried. Because personally, in the beginning, the first flock that I ever brought to this farm, I was really so worried when I saw these birds not feeding. So that is why I'm really giving you updates every day about what is happening, and I'm really giving you every information about these birds, simply because I really want us to follow these birds up to the day when we are going to sell them off. Not only up to when they are going to start laying eggs, but up to the day that we are going to sell them off, so that we are able to prove something. Now all the feeders you're seeing inside here, they all have feeds inside. You can see all of them, they have feeds remaining inside them. But with these birds, they are funny. If you add again some feeds there, you see them run towards it and start feeding. But if you just stay and you don't add them feeds, they will also not bother. So just for formality, that's why we are adding little feeds in the feeders. And honestly, after doing that, you say again, birds will start concentrating a bit like that. So that is what I'm now doing. I come in the morning like this, put just some little, and you see them running to feed. Others will be feeding, others will fail to feed, and then again in the afternoon. That is what I am doing, because if you just leave that the feeders have feeds, you see them also just not bothered. I really don't know why it has happened to me with all the birds that I've brought here. When you debake them, the feeds will be there in the feeders, but they never bother to feed. But again, if you come and start like, you pretend like you're adding their feeds, you see them again run and start the feeding. But the beauty is there is no mortality at all. That is the beauty. The beauty is there is no mortality at all. And I'm very sure by Friday this week, these birds will be at least feeding well. Because just like I told you, at least I am adding drinking water every day. You find drinkers empty. Every day you find that drinkers empty. And that is very good. I think that is also what is helping them in the healing process. So guys, poultry farming is not just a walk in the park. There's a lot involved, and you keep learning every day. Every day is a learning process. Every day is a learning process. Mama chim tu do ya do on kan no knock eh. Ma ino chim pot kom do ya. Ni mare kana shi. Wini pede media. Pede medi. Ken chimpo tu do igin kan dushu. Kutigiro mato geni piva nyo. Kena beri eno. Nyo do war medalo vera. Tete ringu bori la ke timi yigi pat gu chemti yigi. Guys, these birds are crazy. All the feeders have feeds inside. But the way they are running up and down, following the person who was giving feeds, as though there is no feeds inside the feeders. You just see. They're just so crazy. Winnie, you have got a little tin gwen. So So guys, just like I told you that this is not a project that is very easy. You have to work hard to at least achieve what you want, because if you don't follow the right things, trust me, your birds are not going to perform the way they are supposed to perform, the way you want. So you can now see, but at least I'm happy that the birds are beginning to feed. You can see they are beginning to feed. At least by the end of the day, if you pick birds randomly, you find that they have fed. Much as not too much, but at least you find that they are fed. And the beauty is, like I told you, there is no mortality so far. Up to now, there is typically no mortality. The birds are, you see a bird is lying down like it is sick, but when you go towards it, it starts running up and down. So that means the healing is taking place well. And I'm very sure we shall not reach Friday this week when these birds are not now feeding. And this, I told you, it has really reduced on their feed intake, because they were supposed to be consuming 75 grams per bird, but now that is not what is happening. But all in all, the beaking is very important in poultry farming, especially now as who are in the deep litter system. Even those who are in cages, they do debake their birds, because remember, they are never like one in a cage. There are like 2 or 3 birds in one cage. So if you do not debake the birds, they will end up eating each other, pecking on each other, and that will lead to cannibalism, which is not good. That is what we do not want. So for today, that is all I had for you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for always coming back. Thank you so much for all your wonderful love and support. Thank you so much for the comments, sharing the videos. Kindly don't forget to like the videos, please. And if you're still new, please kindly consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. Click on the notification bell so that you never miss out any upload. Share this video, comment in the comment section down below, and I'll be so grateful. See you next time. I love you all. Have a blessed week. Bye bye.